What's up, YouTube? It's Eric, a Lions fan. I appreciate you checking out this video. Today, guys, I'm going to talk about the Detroit Lions today. I'm going to give the kind of the mid-season assessment for me. This is only just my opinions. I may give some grades out. I may not. I got my notes up here. I got it on a computer screen for me. So the video might be choppy, I'll admit. But I thought the live stream that I posted up there, it was just absolute garbage, guys. I was kind of a little bit embarrassed to leave it up there, so I put it up there and debated on it for maybe like 30 seconds to a minute, and I said that was just terrible, so I just wiped it. So I hope you guys can hang with me here. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. I'm going to start out with Theo Riddick. Excuse me. And with Theo Riddick, I think he's been a big part of our offense, probably maybe one of the biggest parts of the offense. On any third down, he can usually get us a pretty good chunk of yards, sometimes a first down. He's very good receiving back for us. I think people don't give him enough credit for what he's done for the team. I think he's been, like I said, I think he's just been a big part of the offense. If I were to have to put a grade on him, I'd probably put an A on him. He's been that big of a deal for us from a Lions perspective. You always have to account for him. Sometimes he slips away. Although his running ability could be better, but the threat of the run is at least still there for Theo Riddick. I think that center needs to get a few more touches. I also think that Washington, when he comes back, if he does come back at any part of the season, plug him back in there, get him some reps, see what you got with him versus some competition. Anyway, this was more about Theo Riddick more than it was Zenner and Washington and Abdullah. Even Abdullah, when he comes back, I don't know if he'll be back. But if you guys if they get a chance, plug him in there and see what they do. But yeah, Theo Riddick's been a big part of our offense. Actually, the running back core group probably is going to get a B+, BB+. Theo Riddick gets an A for sure. I would like to see more of Zenner, and I would like to see more of Washington. But next up is Matthew Stafford, guys. We would not be a 4-4 team without Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, to me, guys, has kind of gone above and beyond what is expected of him this year. I like how he's putting people in charge of things, or taking charge of the offense, number one, making people accountable, chewing ass when they need to be chewing ass, or their ass chewed for running the wrong route or for whatever reason. So I like what I've seen from Matthew Stafford. I will admit that. It's been a pleasant surprise to me. You guys know, and granted, guys, he hasn't been the best in some certain situations, but just his leadership alone is just 2 or 3 steps above for me. We've been wanting to see that back a couple of years ago with Matthew Stafford, but now that he's out, now that he's kind of taken the bull by the horns by this team, I'm glad to see it. I'll admit, I'm glad to see it as a Lions fan. As for his contract, and should we extend him? I believe yes. I believe we should extend him. I don't know if there's going to be another good quarterback of his caliber to come out within at least the next year or two. I would maybe not pay him $120 million. That's the thing. But I would say if he's willing to stick it out with this team, granted, from whatever record we go with, if he's willing to stick it out, and if he's a vital part of this offense, a main part of this offense, and have his decisions be heard, or his opinions be heard and taken into account, I believe, yes, you extend him. Now, at what dollar amount do you extend him at? I don't know. I would not extend him past probably $50 million. And that's, some guys you say, well, that's cheap, Eric. Why don't you pay him $60, $70, $80 million? Yeah, he's coming into his prime now, but I don't want to see him be to the point of, getting into his contract and then he falls on his face. If anything, front load his contract and then make it progressively smaller so we can get more people in and get people with maybe a little bit younger, faster, stronger talent in here. I know Matthew Stafford can do it, and he's shown that he can do it, and I like his leadership ability, and I like his decisiveness, and I like the way he commands the field when he's out there. But that's just my own personal opinion, you guys. I'd like to see the same with Stafford, maybe a little bit a little bit more, staying in the pocket, maybe not getting his rattles as much, but it is what it is, guys, and I've liked what I've seen thus far, so but I like what Matthew Stafford has done. So if I was going to grade Matthew Stafford, I would probably give him an A-. And maybe some of you guys could make a case for an A for me. I would not argue with you at all. So now we're going to get into Jim Bob Cooter, you guys. There's times where he's looked like a mastermind, and then there's times where he's looked, and I'll use, and I apologize for my word usage here, guys, but sometimes he's just looked fucking clueless, I'll admit. Some of his play calling to me, I don't know if that's Matthew Stafford doing an audible or if he doesn't like something so he changes it, but the play calling for Matthew Stafford by Jim Bob Cooter has been, I don't know, I would guess to say probably a B- would be my guess. Like I said, he's looked like a mastermind at times, and then there's other times where he's looked like he's doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Maybe he's still trying to feel his way through this role, kind of being shoved in there after Lombardi was shit canned. I can't really blame a whole lot on Jim Bob Cooter. A lot of it goes to the wide receiving core. Tate, Marvin Jones. There's one other young guy there that his name escapes me now. Anquan Boldin needs to be part of this offense. He acts, I don't want to say it's him, but when I'm watching on the television, it just seems like Anquan Boldin is not a part of this offense. And it kind of, I don't want to say chaps my ass, kind of using a Greg's Beer Review term, but it does. It does a little bit. It kind of makes me a little bit upset that Anquan Boldin is not a part of this offense, or doesn't appear to be a part of this offense, or the ball's not going to him enough. Now, guys, I don't know if they're playing him, the defenses are playing him like Calvin Johnson, where he's double-teamed all the time, and Matthew Stafford doesn't feel comfortable throwing to him. But usually, if Matthew Stafford throws the ball his way, Anquan Boldin comes down with it. That's the kind of the way it was when he was in Arizona. It's the way it was when he's here. So I don't understand why Anquan Boldin is not more into the offense. But I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me because I'm clueless. I just don't know why this is. I'll say a little blurb about Eric Ebron, excuse me. He's done good for us. Very, very good for us. 7 balls for 80 yards yesterday. But to me, guys, I think that just Ebron needs to be a bigger part of the offense. Maybe he is a check down kind of guy, along like what Theo Riddick is for us, a back who can catch the ball. I think Ebron is a strong guy, but just some of the things that have happened where a defensive back just rips the ball out of his hands. It's been the second time this has happened. But I just wish that he would take ball security more seriously. That's probably really the only gripe I've got about Eric Ebron. Now, before, guys, I was spitting venom about this guy. I kind of wanted him cut. He seemed like he just didn't give a shit at times, or all throughout last season he didn't seem to give a shit. Now I hope that the coaching staff has said, look, man, you've probably only got one more chance here, so you better make the most of it, even if you're going to continue on your NFL career somewhere else. So, but I'm glad what I've seen with Ebron. I'm very actually pleased with what I've seen from Ebron thus far. I think his blocking's gotten better. His chip blocks have gotten better. But again, that's just me observing and my own thoughts about Eric Ebron. Maybe you guys just say, Eric, you just don't know what you're talking about. That very well could be too. But I like what Ebron's done thus far. So now we're getting to the defense. The defense as a whole, to me, guys, gets a D. The defensive line, I think, is probably a C at best. Probably a better grade being a C-. I don't think they've gotten to the quarterback as well as last couple of years ago. But Ziggy Ansah and who's the other guy I got on here? There's one other guy. I must have not jotted his name down here. But I think the defensive line has done enough to try to put pressure on the quarterback. Now, there's been series, there's been a bunch of series throughout the season thus far where the defense just hasn't pressed the quarterback enough. And a very good a very good example of that would be against the Eagles, where Wentz had 18 consecutive catches, and I didn't think he had any pressures. So there's been a lack of, for lack of a better term, excuse me. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't want to say a laziness or anything like that, but there's just seemed a sense of urgency to get towards the quarterback. I don't know if it's just that they were winded, if it's just like, man, oh God, here we go again kind of thing, and they just don't want to put forth the effort, or kind of what it is. So probably a C- is probably a good assessment for this team. Defensive backs. Now, I've heard a couple people say that the defensive backs are not the problem here. They are not the whole problem, I will admit that, but they are part of the problem. And the only reason I say that is because the defensive backs usually are not lined up with the wide receiver. They seem to be a couple of yards back, sometimes maybe 5 yards back, close to 10 yards back from the receiver, so it's a quick screen to them, and they go and they get a first down sometimes. But I would like to see a little bit more sense of urgency there to kind of press that receiver, kind of disrupt his route here a little bit, maybe think that he's going to get hit. That's just my own personal opinion, guys. I think that Killebrew and Quinn, I think Quinn's done an okay job. I think Killebrew's still learning. I haven't seen him out there quite a lot, though, and maybe it's just because his name hasn't been called on the television quite a bit, or when I'm watching. So that very well could be as well. So, but the defensive backs and the safeties are probably going to get a D from me. Although I think Quinn is trying the best he can to get Killebrew up and running and trying to teach him what he knows. So, play to me, guys, he's been okay. I don't think he's lived up to his contract. I think he's given up, at least thus far, I think he's given up, at least to me, too many plays thus far this season. I think he's got to be more of a lockdown receiver, kind of keeping up with the wide receivers, knocking balls away. I don't want to say punishing the receiver, but, you know, kind of make him think twice about whether he wants to catch the ball or not. That just doesn't go against for Slay. That goes against Lawson. Lawson, I think, has been terrible. Has been absolute garbage. But and the other people escape me too, guys. I can't remember every name on the roster. So, but linebackers get a big fat F for fucking terrible. They just can't seem to cover anybody. They really don't even bother covering the tight end when he runs through. They always seem to be kind of, to me, to be sitting in that zone coverage. And when they do try to keep up with the tight end, they get 1 or 2 steps behind him, and it's just a easy pitch and catch to the tight end. And then it's up to the defensive backs and the safeties to stop him. And usually, sometimes they bounce off them, or they can't really wrestle him to the ground. That defensive back core, that linebacker core needs work. Needs work. I don't know what's going on with that. And I kind of blame Terrell Austin. Terrell Austin, guys, he's been a big disappointment. Very, very big disappointment. I don't really know how to really assess Terrell Austin other than he can't adjust to the situations. That's how I look at it. That's the main thing. He cannot adjust to the situations that the offense is showing him, more or less. If they do one thing, he kind of keeps on with that same mentality and doesn't really waver from his game plan. There's just times where that does not work. And guys, my last part of my assessment to me is going to be Jim Caldwell. A lot like Austin, he doesn't seem to me, want to adjust. He doesn't seem to have enough confidence to throw the challenge flag. And he doesn't seem to be a good motivator, more or less. There's been times like this last Sunday where a lot of people said he probably should have challenged that fumble, and it probably would have been overturned. The call on the field would have been overturned. Now, I didn't watch that because I missed that part. But there's been a lot throughout the games where he just doesn't show any type of emotion to try to rally his troops and try to tell them to get up and to get fired up and to play aggressive but sound football sort of thing. It's just, you get that same glassed over look, a lot like Rod Marinelli, like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing out here kind of thing. I'm just a body. I don't know, guys. What do you guys think of this video? for an overall grade for the whole entire team, guys, and I know I didn't get into the wide receivers much, or special teams either. I just, special teams to me is, if they're outstanding, I'll say it, but if in their crap, I'll say it, but if they're average, I'm probably not gonna to say anything. So to me, the special teams has been average, so I'm not really gonna go off and talk about that unit. So, but if you're not talking about them, they must be doing at least an average job, right? But as an overall team, guys, with the offense being about a B plus, and the defense being about a D, I'm gonna say a D. The Detroit Lions are average. They're a C. C minus, C plus, right around there. They're average. We're 4-4, and that's where we're at. Now we're coming up on the back end of the season, guys. We very well could go. I don't want to say 4-12. I don't think we're going to go 4-12. We very well could go 6-10, or possibly even 5-11. I think we're probably going to end up 7-9, 8-8, right around there. We're about like what last year was. 6-10's a high possibility. I don't think 5-11 is. I don't think we're going to win one more game in the last 8 games for that. I just don't see that happening. But 6-10 or 7-9 are probably real possibilities. If we go 4-4 through the next 8 games with our brutal schedule that we have, I think we're probably that's a win for Detroit. Now, it wouldn't be playoffs. I think we missed the playoffs again. But it's not a prediction video or anything like that. But if we go 8-8, we're not making the playoffs. We got to at least hit 10-6 to me to make the playoffs, and that's even to get possibly even to get a wild card. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think. Are my assessments right? Are my assessments wrong? I think this was a much better video than my live stream, only because I was able to gather my thoughts here. I stopped the video a couple times. That's why it's kind of choppy. Gather my thoughts and then go ahead and put them out here on a video. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And as always, do a like, subscribe as well. And as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Go Lions. Deuces.